of this interleague series featured a barrage of extra-inning home runs, all by the Birds. They got the win. Last night, the rains came. Game canceled in D.C. So the Orioles moved back home. Game 3 of this 4-game set has Bud Norris coming off the DL. He is 3-0 over his last 3 home starts with a 2.18 ERA. Mr. Norris wants to keep those numbers going tonight. It's the Orioles on Masson, and the Birds are back home for this 2-game short set against the Nationals after the game was rained out last night in Washington. So the Orioles have won 1 of the scheduled 4 games to be played between these 2 ball clubs. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne. Here's an opportunity to see division leaders going at one another before the All-Star break. The Orioles are on top of Toronto, of course, and Washington. Even though they did not play last night, gained a half game, they are now tied for first with the Atlanta Braves. They get to go at it here tonight. And for the Orioles, they get to take a look at coming off the DL, their starting pitcher tonight, Bud Norris. Bud Norris has had a long rest after that groin problem that took him out of a ball game. He has had an exquisite season, and it's only gotten better with each start in the month of June and coming into July. Why is the question? Well, one of the reasons, perhaps that opponent batting average. Look how far that average has changed from 2013 to 2014. A difference of 0.52. That is the largest opponent batting average improvement in Major League Baseball, with Kazmir Wainwright on that list as well. But for Bud Norris, you get those kind of numbers down, you've got an opportunity to win some ball games, because Mike Bordick, you're not going to have people on base.
Well, that's right. And I think Bud Norris, when he came over to the American League last year by way of the trade, he realized he had to make a couple changes. One of the changes is coming up with a third pitch, and it's the changeup he worked on so hard in spring training with pitching coach Dave Wallace, and it has really become a quality pitch. Bud Norris throws 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, and he can throw that changeup off that pitch. It's a big-time strikeout pitch. He's able to throw it for strikes as well, but he has command of his slider. Here, a good slider to Ichiro. He's got the firm fastball, and he's able to locate it down and away there to get Derek Jeter. Another breaking ball. He can use the curve or the slider to lefties and righties, backdooring it to get Brian Roberts. So he has 3 quality pitches. But another factor that Bud Norris has is that he is aggressive in the zone, or on the inside part of the plate. He is fearless in there. This year, 9 hits batsman. Most in his career, 8, and that was back in 2011, I think. So he isn't afraid to throw the ball in, trying to open up that outside corner. He isn't hitting guys on purpose, but he's telling them, hey, this is my plate, and I'm setting up, other pitches. Don't be crowding it, and you better get out of the way if I'm coming in there. Bud Norris is a great competitor.
And that'll keep the feet moving and the hitters honest. And for the Orioles tonight, they hope the big bats will continue to go. The offense is on a great roll, which is one of the reasons Buck Showalter would like to have had the game played last night. When you're hitting well, you like to keep that going. But the other side of that was the bullpen got to rest. So they had the full day off, and after all those extra inning and long games that the Orioles have had over the last week, probably a good thing.
Yeah, well, it was a tough little stretch there, the doubleheader, then a couple extra inning ball games, and bullpen was really getting stretched out. Now, Buck Showalter, probably the best in the game at managing that bullpen, and he handled it so well, really kept everybody rested. He called on guys to step up. Darren O'Day came up big, pitching a couple innings. Brad Brock has been outstanding, 3 consecutive wins in his 3 appearances. So he's managing the bullpen well, and yeah, it is good for them to get an off day and hopefully well rested coming into tonight.
All right, the Orioles take the field here at Camden Yards, and we are set to go in Game 3 of this 4-game set. The Nationals and the Orioles as the O's try to increase their lead in the American League East. lesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Summer night here at Camden Yards. Chance of a thunderstorm still in the forecast. It has not rained. Both teams got their full complement of work in. Take a look at our train game time temperature. We are at 81 degrees. A little breeze, but not much blowing out to center. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. And here's the starting lineup for the Nationals. Now, of course, the DH being used, so they've changed the lineup from what would have been used in D.C. last night. Span, Rendon, Werth, LaRoche, Zimmerman, Harper, Desmond. Ramos was not going to catch last night, and Espinosa wasn't going to play as they moved Zimmerman to the DH role. 11-game hit streak, though, for Ramos.
And let's take a look at the pitch arsenal for Bud Norris this season. He's using that fastball at 62%, breaking ball 29%. And there's that changeup 9% of the time. Good fastball, 94, 95 miles an hour. Pitches in and out with it very well. And, of course, that power slider commands it to both sides of the plate, lefties and righties. To look at Bud Norris's numbers on the year. 14 starts at 7-5 record, 3.62 earned run average. 87 innings of work, has 60 punch-outs with 28 base on balls. There's that opponent batting average down to 231. Lefties at 227 and the righties at 234. 10 home runs given up. And before Bud Norris went on the disabled list, he was red hot. 4 consecutive wins. His last 3 starts only gave up 2 earned runs. So Bud Norris looking to pick up right where he left off.
Would be a career high for him if he can pick up his 5th decision in a row. And for Norris, he comes in against the ball club. He is defeated twice already in his career. His record is 2-0. It's his 4th start against the Nationals. Last faced the club in Washington in April of 2012 when he picked up a W in that game. So he gets the start here, and in the starts he's made this season, 14 of them, the Orioles have gone 8-6 in those ball games. And we are ready to rock and roll here tonight. Big house will be on hand as the Orioles come back home for the homestand before the All-Star break. Denard Span stands in, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. Span had a 1-for-4 in the opening game. The game rained out last night. It's going to be made up on August 4. Time to be determined. Matt Williams' team 48-40, tied for first with the Atlanta Braves. The Braves losing yesterday. And that pitch will be up and in to Span. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Just up in the zone there with the fastball, but the Orioles defense playing in tight on Span. Very good speed. Certainly a bunt threat. Manny Machado in on the grass there at third base.
Span has had a couple of home runs in his career against the Orioles, and they both have been here at Camden Yards. Pitch will be high and away. Question of how long it will take for Bud Norris to kind of get back into the rhythm. I mean, you've done all the stuff sideline throwing, but you haven't made a start since June 21. That's a long time, a lot of days off, and you got to get the rhythm back on the mound. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that'll be hit towards the hole, played by Jonathan Schoop. 1 down.
Nice play right there by Jonathan Schoop, showing the range to his left. Ball stayed down. Here's a look at the Orioles defense behind Norris. Steve Pearce back in the lineup after coming back to the American League. He's in left. Jones and Markakis will join him in the outfield. Hardy and Schoop up the middle. Machado and Davis on the corners with Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
Home plate umpires Dan Iasonia. Iasonia is a 12-year veteran out of Connecticut. Went to the University of Connecticut, in fact. Lives in Georgia now. He was in the 2012 World Series. Dan's an umpire who tends to be a little pitcher friendly, probably, if you go by what the players have seen over the years. Pitch will be taken up high, a fastball. Rendon, who's vying for that final spot on the National League roster, with the votes still coming in until Thursday at 4 o'clock. Fans can vote for that one final, 1 out of 5 in both the American and National Leagues. And he gets ahead on the count here. 2 balls and no strikes. Bud Norris, 28 walks in 87 innings. He has cut that down from last year in the walk per inning ratio. 2-0 pitch on the way, and that will be fouled off off on the right side with the incoming crowd, and it's 2-1.
Rendon, a very dangerous hitter. We saw the power he possesses in that first game. Straightaway center field on an inside fastball. Able to pull his hands in there and barrel it up. So very productive hitter, having a great season. 13 home runs and the .338 batting average. So
and got tied up, but Norris kind of shaking his head. He didn't get the call. Thought it might have had the strike zone. It goes 3-1.
Take a look at the fastball. Joseph setting up, down and away, and it just rides up and in on Rendon.
Rendon, the home run, of course, coming in the first game these two teams played, and he rips that one down the line. He got all of it. That'll take a bounce. Fan may have hit it. It is a ground rule double. Fan reached out, I think, and the third base umpire immediately saw it, Gary Cederstrom, and called the ground rule double, which was going to be anyway. You make a mistake to him, you pay, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. I mean, we talked about his quick bat, his 22nd double, and Bud Norris has a real good fastball, and he got on it quickly, able to keep it fair down that left field line. You see it kick up, and Fan gets his hand on the ball.
Not a lot of chances in game one against Tillman and company, as the Orioles, Tillman in particular, just did not allow base runners and didn't let anybody get on into scoring position until very late in the game. Chris was just magnificent in that start on Monday. So the Nationals ended up going just 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position in that first game. Here is Jason Werth, the RBI chance, and he will foul it back. As a team, the Nationals hitting .233 in these situations. Not particularly good. It's ranked 11th in the National League.
Jason Werth, a very dangerous hitter, but Norris elevating the fastball there, and you see how aggressive Jason Werth can be. I mean, he's a big kid. He's got some long arms, so he has great plate coverage.
He's been one of their leaders in these situations, hitting .313. Good pitch by Norris to catch the inside corner. Count goes to 0-2. Find this to be an amazing number, especially for a team that's tied for first in the division. Against left-handers, they're better than anybody else in baseball. .234 against right-handers.
I know, amazing drop rate there. Largest differential in all of baseball.
That is really strange. Here's an 0-2 delivery on the way. Ball pumped in the air to the gap in right center. Got a lot of it. Markakis on the run, looking up. It'll hit right off the wall. The runner coming around third will score. Werth will go in with a double. Back-to-back doubles here in the first inning in a 1-0 Nationals lead.
Now Rendon gets himself into a hitter's count as Bud Norris falls behind and able to slap that double down the left field line. This pitch elevated up in the zone, and Jason Werth powdered this one to right center. You see it up and out over. There's a good look at the extension he can get. Driving that ball, beating Markakis, almost got a home run right off the top of the wall. Rendon able to score easily, and Werth walks into second base.
So Werth in with a two-bagger, and the RBI is 45th run batted in on the season. Desmond has picked up 53 RBIs ahead of him, and LaRoche has 45. LaRoche second on the ball club, and LaRoche will take it for a strike. He had an 0 for 5 in the opening game of this series. So the Nationals jump out with a couple of back-to-back doubles here in the first inning. LaRoche has had a couple of hits off Norris. He is 2 for 5 in his career against the Orioles starter. Infield shaded a bit, playing him to pull. Norris's fastball will be up high. Looks like for Bud, he's got the mustard on the ball. It's a matter of putting it where he wants it to be.
Well, that's the thing. You get a couple weeks off recovering and maybe feeling a little too strong. There's certainly some anxiety out there after not pitching for a while. So a couple fastballs here in the early going, riding to the top of the zone.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that's going to be a base hit into right field. Werth got a pretty good jump, but he's being waved home. Are you kidding me? Here's the throw, and he scores! And tagged him, but he was on the plate already. Wow! I think that surprised Nick Markakis and the entire Orioles defense, because he wasn't even at third base when the ball was picked up by Nick Markakis in right field. And it's 2-0.
Well, I agree. This ball hit pretty hard. A slider And LaRoche smokes it out to Markakis. Markakis, the Gold Glove outfielder, a little bit of a hesitation. I don't think he's expecting Werth to be running either, but third base coach Bob Henley, he had his arm going the whole time. Jason Werth didn't slow up one bit. It's a surprise attack and the second run on the board for the Nats.
Wow. That was a great call by Henley, third base coach. Just going to create some activity out there, and that's exactly what they did. And LaRoche will pick up the RBI, so he's got 46 on the season. And here is Zimmerman. Zimmerman gets moved into the DH spot for this game. He's had good numbers off Norris. He's gone 4 for 11 with a couple of home runs against the Orioles starter. Runner on at first base with 2 runs in on 3 hits here in the first inning. And going after a pitch, a breaking ball way outside, and gets ahead of him 0-2.
Nice slider there. A lot of hitters have to kind of gear up. We talk about the velocity of Bud Norris, and he's showing here early in the game. He's got it, 94 miles an hour with the fastball. Zimmerman kind of gearing up for it, chases the hard slider down and away.
Orioles outfield pretty much straight away on him. 0-2 delivery on the way. Try to get him, go after one in the dirt. Joseph able to block it. Hold the runner on at first base. And Norris has a 1-ball-2-strike count. Significant difference for Zimmerman, home and road on the season. However, this is one road game he probably won't mind. He's got a .323 average against the Orioles lifetime and a .312 average in this ballpark. Towering pop-up. Goes to shallow left field. Pierce will come in underneath it and put it away. LaRoche halfway will head back to first base, and there is the second out of the first inning.
Another elevated fastball there, and Bud Norris gets away with it. Zimmerman only 3 home runs on the year, but certainly a very dangerous hitter. Only strong enough to knock one out of the park.
So Norris with 2 away, and that will bring up Harper. Harper had an 0 for 3 in the opener, and as his manager Matt Williams said the other day, it's going to take a while. He said, look, he's just trying to get back into game shape, hitting only .167 with the 10 strikeouts over the last 7 ball games. But Matt said that I'm not worried at all. He said he's going to be fine. But you can't get a guy, he said, coming off the DL and expect him to hit for his career average the first week he's back. And he said, I like the way his swings are getting better. He's seeing the strike zone a little better. Looks more confident at the plate. And Matt said, I got no problem with what he's doing, and I understand why he's struggling. 2 down, and going to be a conference here as Norris will meet with Joseph.
Even though Harper has been struggling, you certainly want to be on the same page. But Norris and Caleb Joseph having a little conversation about what they want to throw here, because Harper could bust out any time. We've seen it with Manny Machado coming off the disabled list. Even though he had a lot of extra time down in spring training, it still takes a while to get that game speed up to snuff, both offensively and defensively, but mostly with the bat, just the timing and have that consistent rhythm.
2 down, runner at first base. I thought Matt made an interesting point. He was talking about the fact that Harper's struck out more often here since coming off the DL than he had before, and he said it's all about expectations. He said he expects greatness, and when it's not coming, he starts to push, and he starts going after some pitchers that he wouldn't otherwise go after. And he said that's going to happen in these situations, and he said I'm not surprised the strikeout rate has gone up a little bit.
Well, that's just human nature, and we've seen it with players on the Orioles. The want is there so much. They're trying to get it done right out of the pitcher's hand instead of trusting all that great instinct that they have. Let the ball travel a little bit. And of course, all these guys have amazing hands.
1-1 delivery on the way. Norris will miss inside. LaRoche on at first base with a single. Harper with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. See, much better when he's able to get ahead. It's just the opposite for Bud Norris, the pitcher. Bud Norris has been one of those we call pitching backwards. He has much better numbers when he falls behind in the count than when he's ahead in the count. 2-1 delivery on the way, and I think he went around on that one. They're going to check at third base, and the answer is yes from Gary Cederstrom. Going to break your wrists on that hold.
Yeah, great pitch here. Cut fastball, 90 miles an hour, and it just takes off under the hands of Harper. Harper can't hold up. You see Bud Norris, man, he's fired up. We talked about his competitiveness. He wants that one.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Shift on in the infield against Harper. And the 2-2 from Norris, and that'll be popped up in the air and back into the seats and out of play. Pierce very happy that didn't come to left. He had no idea where that ball went. As soon as it came off the bat, Steve put his arms out and looked to center, saying to Adam Jones, "Where?" And Adam went, "It's okay. It's not coming out here."
Yeah, not a good feeling when you can't pick the ball up off the bat.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and way up high with that one. So the count full, 3-2. That'll send LaRoche from first base on the charge. 2 runs in. Rendon had the 1-out double. Werth followed an RBI double. LaRoche followed RBI single. There's Werth on the left. 3 ball, 2 strike count. The runner takes off and a swing and a miss. So Norris gets the strikeout. Couple of runs on 3 hits, no errors, 1 left. The Nationals on top 2-0. The Orioles lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Their fares online only at southwest.com. Markakis, Pearson, Jones, Cruz, Davis, and Hardy, Machado, Joseph, and Jonathan Scope. Adam Jones now 112 hits, 3rd in the American League.
And here's a look at the pitch arsenal of Doug Fister this season. Fastball at 73%. And it's a pretty good one. It's a 2-seam sinker. He's going to get a lot of ground balls if he's on. The breaking ball at 12% and the changeup at 15%. He's been a good one. He's had a strong year this year. You see the numbers: 7 wins at .293 earned run average, 70 2/3 innings of work, 42 strikeouts, and just 6 walks. So he's all over the dish. Command pitcher. See the opponent's hitting .253. Has given up the 9 home runs though.
And the pitch will be taken by Markakis for a ball. And for Nick, once this ball game got started, he has now played in 1,300 major league games. So long as we get an official game in here tonight, he will join an ever decreasing list of players and games played historically. And he joins J.J. Hardy for a magic number, J.J.'s 1,200th game. So 1,300 for Nick, 1,200 for Hardy.
A lot of games. Great leaders.
And great consistency for both of them, both at the plate and in the field. Delivery on the way, and Markakis will foul that one away.
Here's a look at some of the Orioles bats that have had success off Fister in their careers. Markakis on that list at .421 with the homer. Adam Jones .357 with an RBI. Davis just tears up the interleague play with .300 with a couple home runs off Fister. And Nelson Cruz, well, he just hits everybody.
There is Nelson, who's the RBI and home run leader in the majors. The Orioles' Nick Markakis, speaking of those with great numbers interleague play, continues to lead all active players in average in interleague games. Span with outstanding speed will get there. And Markakis retired.
Let's take a look at the defense behind Pfister tonight. Harper, Span, and Werth in the outfield. Desmond at shortstop. Danny Espinosa getting the start at second base, with Zimmerman doing the DHing, and Rendon slides over to third base. LaRoche playing first, and Ramos doing the catching.
No one happier to be back in a ballpark that's an American League yard than Steve Pearce. It gets him back in the lineup, gives Buck Showalter the added flexibility without the pitchers hitting. Steve had to take the ball game off game one on Monday night, despite the great numbers that he's been putting up, and was named, of course, co-player of the week with Adam Jones in the American League, but was going to have to sit just so Buck Showalter could get people in who needed to play. Now Steve gets back into the ball game, and the pitch by Pfister will be taken away. He had an 0 for 1 in game one, came on as a pinch hitter in the ball game for the O's late. 3-0 count. A walk. Wow. On just 4 pitches, Pfister surrenders his 7th walk in 71 innings pitched. How about that?
Pfister very good command of the baseball. Let's take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers. The highest strikeout to walk ratio will keep Kershaw leading the way with the Dodgers, but there's Doug Pfister, that 7.0. Cliff Lee, Strasburg, and Greinke on the list. With great command. And he's just walked now 7 hitters.
And Adam Jones coming up, as baseball will do to you with all the slugfest and hits the Orioles put up in that 8-2 win. They had 15 hits in that game one, including the 6-run 6-hit 11th inning. Who had the 0 for? Adam Jones. Adam ended up with an 0 for 6 in that ball game. It's just the nature of the beast. 0-1 delivery to him, and that'll be taken outside for a ball. Adam comes in 7th in average at .305. He's been among the leading runs scorers for the Orioles. He and Cruz. Cruz now 1, Jones 2 for the O's. 112 hits, 3rd best in the league. And Adam, of course, continues to have the best average against left-handers. Pitch will be fouled off in the big cut. That's the kind of cut Buck Showalter was talking about the other night when referring to Adam Jones going into the home run derby at the All-Star game, and he was asked, well, do you think it'll screw up his swing? Buck responded, that's the way he swings anyway.
Always swings hard, very aggressive. He'll chase at times, but it doesn't matter. And we talked about it yesterday. He has a home run derby every day in batting practice.
Exactly.
He loves to hit the ball hard, see how far it can go.
1 ball, 2 strike count. At first base, Pierce, short lead, and a tapper that hits him. And is he out, or was he in the box? The rule is foul ball. As long as he's in the box, it's just a foul ball. If he's out of the box and it hits him, he's out.
There's a breaking ball, and it's working itself away. Let's take a look. Adam Jones gets a piece of it, bounces out in front of the plate, and catches him. Oh, he's still in the box.
Still had that foot in there.
Yeah, good call. Great look here as the ball bounces up and catches him on that right wrist.
And Iasonia right on it, home plate umpire. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Cruz waiting on deck. And a cut on a pitch down and away. Pinpointed on that one, and a strikeout.
Good fastball. Not a lot of sink on this one, but you can see why he's tough. That cross-body delivery is right across the plate. A lot of movement. Great location there. 89 miles an hour down and away to get Adam Jones.
Orioles have got to get a chance to add another game to their lead in the American League East. Toronto's lost. The Angels have beaten them today 8-7. Nolan Reimold, the former Oriole, had a 2 for 4, 3 RBIs for Toronto, but not enough. Nelson Cruz at the plate, and for Nelson, home runs, RBIs, they just keep coming.
Yeah, he just hammers this ball to right center field. Jason Werth called it Death Valley out there, but he made it look small in a hurry. 28 home runs to 73 RBIs, both most in the major leagues.
And a 1 ball, 1 strike count. He's had 1 career home run off Doug Pfister. 8 for 21 against the 30-year-old right-hander. As Cruz going for a new season high, career high, 33 home runs, set in 09. And he went around on that. Iasonia, the home plate umpire, makes the call himself. Cruz could not hold up. Count goes to 1-2.
Well, it might take a little while to pick the ball up here off Fister. That 3/4 arm slot. He's a big guy now, 6'8". When you step across your body, you're going to have full concentration to try to pick up that rotation. A little chase there on the slider.
Another one, but that's going to be outside. Fister's having a career year himself for the numbers he's putting up. His career ERA is 3.5. This year it's 2.93. Substantial difference. That pitch is outside. His career strikeout to walk ratio is 3.58. This year 7. I mean, that is an enormous jump in his strikeout to walk ratio from his career numbers. So he's really found the strike zone, and hitters are really having problems with him. 3-2. Runner will go at first base. Pierce, and a timeout asked for as Pierce started to go, and Cruz steps out.
Well, as you get more experience in the league, you learn more about yourself, things you can do better, and make little adjustments, and Fister certainly has. But he is a great athlete. He played first base at Fresno State.
And unbelievable. He has allowed 2 walks in an inning. He doesn't allow 2 walks in 2 games. And the Orioles have 2 on and 2 down.
Steve McCaddy, pitching coach for the Nationals, quizzical look there. That was a pretty good fastball on the outside corner. Tried to run that 2-seamer back over, but the plate umpire calls it a ball.
Only the second start this year where he's walked 2, and 2 is the most he has walked this year. It came against the Cardinals, and only 2-walk game was on June 15. So we'll see whether or not the Orioles may have a control pitcher who's got a little bit of a problem tonight. Doug Fister. 2 on and 2 down. Opportunity for Davis. Chris on the big cut. Chris has a 3 for 10, but 2 of the 3 home runs, 2 of the hits off Fister. 2 of the 3 have been homers. Chris, of course, and that long home run, part of the onslaught in the extra innings in game 1. Taken down low, 1-2.
Yeah, the game prior, Buck Showalter gave him a night off, only a couple hits and 38 at bats, so he was struggling a little bit. But Chris Davis has had some real good interleague success, and the success off the Nationals, so perfect timing for Chris Davis. Hoping to get back on track, add a little bit more offense. Now still has some home runs, 14 home runs on the year, but that batting average, he's a much better hitter than a 200 hitter.
297 lifetime average against Washington, and he will tap that one the other way, foul.
Well, Chris Davis since 2013, he hits a home run, averaging 1 home run every 12.7 at bats. That's the best in the majors. Still a great power hitter. Of course, monster numbers last season. He's on a pretty good pace to get up there again this year.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Orioles down 2-0, and we're just in the first inning. There are 2 on. Timeout will be asked for at the plate. Orioles have dominated the Nationals in recent years here in this ballpark. The Orioles have won 13 of the last 17 games against the Nationals here in Baltimore. Pitch taken away. They've won the last 3 played here. The Nationals haven't won a series against the Orioles here in Camden Yards since 2007. So another 3 ball, 2 strike count, which Fister's gone too often here, up to 27 pitches thrown in the first inning. Those 2 walks and a strikeout contributing to that. And Davis will add another.
Well, you can see the great deal of respect, though, Fister has for this Orioles offense. They're a 3-2 changeup, pretty good one. And he's being careful. He's trying to mix up his pitches. The pitch count now up to 28 already early on, but trying to work that perimeter. You saw the damage they can do. They really exploded against the Nats in that extra inning.
That's going to be a base hit into the gap. Runners going. Pierce will come around to score. On his way to third is Cruz, and with an RBI base hit, Chris Davis puts the Orioles on the board. It is a 2-1 game.
Well, making the walks hurt. A couple walks here in the first inning. Rare from Pfister. Chris Davis works count to 3-2 and gets a mistake in the middle of the plate. You see the cement mixer right there. Great head position, staying behind the baseball, beating the shift. Gets it out to right center. Steve Pierce able to score easily with the 2 outs.
So Davis, how sweet would it be for the Orioles if his bat is going to come alive now for the second half. Chris will pick up his 45th RBI, which is pretty amazing for a Mendoza average to have 45 RBI. First and third, 2 down. Hardy, 3-game hit streak. He's 4 for 22. Shattered bat. It'll go to left, and it will be hauled in by Harper. But the Orioles get one back. They pick up a run on a hit and a couple of walks and make it a 2-1 ball game. Here at Camden Yards, gather up family, friends, have a great night at the ballpark. Get to see this great rivalry in action. 2 really good ball clubs. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. As we said, the Orioles have a chance to gain on Toronto. Toronto lost today. The Orioles started 2.5 games ahead of Toronto. They're now 3. If they win, they'll be 3.5 up. Washington is in a tie in the National League East with the Atlanta Braves, only 1,000th of a point separating them. Atlanta is playing tonight as well. Want to remind all of you, if you have not had a skin cancer detection screening, get it done. Dr. Ken Wasserman, who works with the Orioles team, and a great staff of doctors are on hand today for all of the Orioles and all of the employees of the O's and Masson. Skin tests are absolutely essential, because if you're going to take care of skin cancer, you have got to be able to be treated early, and you do that by having screenings at least once a year. That ball up in the air by Desmond to left field. Pierce is there. He will haul it in. Desmond's retired. If you don't do that, you really risk having some serious problems, and there are hundreds, thousands of dermatologists around the country who do these skin examinations for free. It's about early detection, so please do that. Whether you're fair-skinned or not, with the sun the way it is in this day and age, you need to take care of that.
And if you're a fan of baseball, you're outdoors a lot.
Yeah.
Especially you come watch the Orioles at sun beaten down. Very risky, and will not hurt to get checked out.
I had 2 removed last year. Had no idea. I went through examination, and it wasn't melanoma, thank God, but they were there, and I had to take care of those and had no idea. If I had not done the screening, I would not have known. Here's Ramos, who will take the pitch, and it goes to 1-1. Ramos doing the catching has got an 11-game hit streak. Lobaton was going to catch the ball game last night to give Ramos some time off. He's coming back, had some leg problems, injuries, so they've tried to give him a little rest once in a while. They really don't want to take his bat out of the lineup, as he's hit 13 for 33 during the streak with a home run and 4 RBIs.
Picked up a couple hits in that extra inning game. Stayed on top of a couple fastballs. Bud Norris working the hard sliders away right now on Ramos.
1-2 the count. Espinosa playing second, waiting on deck. Ooh, la la. Way back in left field, and goodbye home run. Off the bat, no question, and that's why they want him in there. Ramos is sizzling right now. He delivers the homer and gets that run back in a hurry. And again, a 2-run lead for the Nationals.
And he just dropped the head on that one. And the fastball in. Just didn't get it in enough. He was ahead in the count 1-2, and here's a look. Philip Joseph setting up in that inside corner. And he gets himself in a good position to get behind the baseball, and he knows it right off the bat.
So a 12-game hit streak for Ramos, their catcher, and for Norris, the 11th home run he has surrendered. 5 hit by right-handers. Here's Espinosa. Danny Espinosa takes the big cut. Switch hitter. He's hitting 273 right, 196 left-handed. But 4 of his 6 home runs have come from this side of the plate. 3 runs on 4 hits now for the Nationals. 0-1 delivery. Strike taken inside corner.
Nice little slider right there from Norris. Yeah, Espinosa, he was the starting second baseman, but some inconsistencies with the bat. Let them call on Rendon, and Rendon just basically took it over. Doesn't look back.
Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way. He'll turn away. And we talked about in the open, but Norris not afraid to come inside and back you off the plate. 9 hit batters so far this season, and you look at the wild pitch numbers, 1. So that means it's not about being wild, it's about being willing to come inside on hitters. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Hardy shifts towards the middle at short, and the pitch is there, and see you later.
A great fastball, great location. And I think, maybe that inside pitch set this up. I think it did. Beautiful pitch, a little 2-seam action as it works itself down and away. Great velocity, 95 miles an hour. Espinosa doesn't even flinch.
See, that's the kind of pitch when we talk about the umpires and we say they may tend to favor pitchers or hitters. That's a pitch right there that if it's an umpire like Dan Iasonia, who tends to have a strike zone a little bit bigger and favors pitchers, you get the call. If you got an umpire who favors hitters, what we mean by that is that pitch probably is the ball.
Right.
Because it's right there. I mean, it's just right there. And even though we show you the ball, I mean, you've got the difference of the size of a baseball as far as possibly being wrong on a ball or a strike when we show you that. So that's what the umpire works with in making those calls, and Iasonia tends to give those to the pitcher. 1-0 delivery on the way, and that'll be fouled back. Denard Span grounded out his first time up.
Well, I do think umpires are kind of set in their ways, but I also think they feed off a catcher as well, how they receive the baseball. Caleb Joseph has done a nice job back there. Soft hands, really firming it up when it's around the plate. Try to help the pitcher get those strikes. And he was part of the reason for that call as well. And I think actually there's been a lot of research done on that, how catchers receive the baseball, as well as they're getting, as far as getting strikes and balls called. Now, I don't know if it's that reliable, but I know it's another stat that's out there.
Well, you got to be able to see it if you're the umpire. And some catchers hide the ball. The way they catch it with the glove and the way they're positioned, the umpire has a hard time figuring out where the ball is. So if you receive it so the umpire can see, you're in pretty good shape. Towering fly ball. Nick Markakis going back on it. Span is retired. But the home run picked up by Ramos, the second one he's had in this ballpark in his career, extends the lead. $500 for being selected, and you get $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play the Orioles scratch off for the Maryland Lottery for your chance to be a contestant of the game. Win a trip to see the O's play at Wrigley or to MLB World Series. You can learn more at mdlottery.com/Orioles. Gary Thorne and the inimitable Mike Bordick on hand as the Orioles are behind here by a couple of runs. It's a nice purple shirt you have on.
Thank you very much. You too.
Thank you. Manny Machado. It's never good to come to the booth wearing the same shirt because all we hear for the entire night, oh, you guys called one another, didn't you? No, we didn't. 1-0 deliveries grounded to the hole. Off the glove and into left field. Desmond. Manny Machado will make the big turn, making Harper come in to field that. Well, Manny Machado continues hot. He's got a 6-game hit streak now, and boy, is he on fire.
He sure is. 300th career hit for Manny Machado, and he picked up 5 hits in that first game of the Nats Orioles series. And here, finding a hole. Desmond giving chase, but right off the end of the glove. I don't know if he would have had much of a shot to get Machado anyway.
So Machado on with a leadoff single. Pfister retires 65% of leadoff batters. Caleb Joseph doing the catching tonight. He'll be followed by Jonathan Schoop. Talking about catchers, A.J. Pierzynski was designated for assignment as the rebuilding process is now underway in Boston. They've decided to call up a younger catcher from their farm system to see what that's going to look like, and Pierzynski's out there and available. Dan Duquette of the Orioles. The pregame show said, while he didn't say not interested, he certainly didn't say interested. All he would do is talk about how positive he is on Joseph and Hundley and the work they have done with the staff. And now they're very comfortable both from the catcher to pitcher and pitcher to catcher, which he deems to be so important. And the idea of bringing somebody else in to try and learn the staff at this point when you're leading the division and trying to win it, probably not.
Yeah, I think it's tough, and they should be happy with the way Joseph and Hundley have been playing.
Desmond Espinosa, what a play Desmond made. It's a yes or no. One quick hop, and it was a yes.
Yeah, quite a reaction right there by Desmond. It's a bullet off the bat of Caleb Joseph. And this is all just instincts here. One quick read, and up you go. Nice clean pick, the underhand feed. It's a crisp double play.
No, 2 down.
Real good shortstop, strong arm over there. The better athletes in the game.
Jonathan Schoop hitting 9th. And the pitch will be taken away. And eliminates that leadoff runner in a hurry. Jonathan had a 1 for 5 in the game on Monday. Ground ball again towards short. Desmond on the big hop guns it. Oh, he's got an arm. And Schoop is retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. Nobody left on. One of the great broadcaster lines of all time. Boy, he's got an arm. Sports brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. And by Luna. The beautiful new carpet, hardwood, and laminate. Call 877-241-LUNA. It's summer night here in Baltimore. Very warm day down in the Arts District. And the 3-1 lead for the Nationals. Lots of Oriole fans on hand doing what you should do on a warm summer night, and that's eat ice cream. There were lots of Oriole fans in D.C. to the point where Strasburg was a little upset about it in the sense that they, towards the end of the game, were actually out dueling the National fans. The Oriole fans have had some of that of their own over the years with the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Right.
Buck Showalter was talking about that. Rendon up. He had a double and scored in the first inning, and the pitch will be taken outside from Bud Norris. Top of the third inning. Werth an RBI double, Roche an RBI single, Ramos an RBI home run. And that pitch is in there for a strike. Werth and LaRoche to follow against Norris.
A little backup slider right there. Rendon kind of shaking his head. He didn't like that pitch, but Norris will take it.
Rendon, the defense straight away. And that pitch is going to be taken outside. Here at Camden Yards for Bud Norris, 6 starts this year, 4-1. 2.21 ERA. Great numbers here at home. For the Orioles, 24th start. His record in starts with the O's, 11-6. Ball in the air to right. Right at Markakis. 1 down. Win lunch with Adam Jones, presented by Care First. Just text Masson's word of the day, walk, to 29292 for your chance to win. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle.
As you see Adam Jones walking across that outfield now. Adam Jones, of course, perennial all-star right now and putting up incredible numbers. Gold Glove center fielder. One of the reasons why he's walking back to center field. He was backing up Nick Markakis on that play, so covering the whole field.
Werth had the RBI double. Now 3 for 15 lifetime off Norris. Adam Jones, loved at one of the great pie places in the country. Grounded up the middle. Hardy's got it. Dangerously delicious in Canton. Not only do they supply some pies to the Orioles, but Adam went there for the calendar photo with his dog Missy, and they took the pictures inside around the pie place. Great. It's a family-owned business here in Baltimore. And they fell in love with Adam, and he with them. I mean, they were great people. I went up there the other day for lunch. Eat pie first, and then whatever else
lunch,
after.
yeah,
obviously, strawberry rhubarb.
Oh,
wonderful people. 2 down. Here's LaRoche, RBI single, his first time up. They closed the operation. In fact, while Adam was there, they just shut down the store for an hour in order to do pictures.
wow.
Here's the 1-0 delivery on the way. Real good breaking ball right there.
Yeah, he's been able to locate that pitch very well to the lefties. Not that true slider, more of the cut type fastball. Throwing it hard. See the second pitch right on the inside corner, and every lefty has had a hard time getting to it.
1-1 delivery on the way. That ball into the shift. Hardy. I can play second too, he said. And a 1-2-3 inning. This is the kind of progress you hope you're going to see out of Norris for the Orioles in this ball game as he gets settled back in. David Schoenfield talking about the Orioles. Nobody could have expected Cruz to put up numbers like he has. Appears to hit like this, yes. It remains to be seen whether both players can keep this up, but Monday's game showcases why the O's don't have to rely just on those two moving forward. There's talent in this lineup ready to break out. He said the American League East is the Orioles division to lose. Visit our new Route 32 Clarksville facility all month. They'll beat any competing offer in your trade-in. Hurry in today.
Well, I think a lot of people are worried about this Orioles offense. Not the Orioles, but the teams they're playing against. I mean, it is potent. Of course, Cruz leading the way offensively, but I mean, all the way through, up and down. Markakis on top there, hitting .294. J.J. Hardy's been rated .300. Adam Jones. I mean, the list goes on, and this is without Chris Davis really catching fire. So Orioles hoping the second half will be stronger for him, but there are incredible bats with a lot of thunder.
Pitch will be taken by Markakis. Bottom of the third inning. He flied out to center field, his first time up. Nick on the board with a .294 average and the #1 active average in interleague games. 2-1 delivery to him, and the breaking ball is in there for a strike. Orioles coming into this ball game increasing those offensive numbers that Mike is talking about. They've just been getting better. Orioles are second in average, fifth in runs right now, and second in home runs only to Toronto. Well, the pitching's picked up for Buck Showalter's team. They're sixth in ERA. Nothing wrong with that. Starter ERA is ninth. They'd like to have that improved a little bit. Nationals, of course, have lived off their pitching, the #1 ERA in the league. Smacked into the corner. That's going to be a foul ball by that much.
Well, that was close. Markakis looking down that line, seeing if they have seen some chalk kick up.
And Buck Showalter's going to come out. C.B. Buckner is the umpire. Now that is a reviewable play because the ball is beyond the umpire. So on plays, on balls, whether fair or foul, if it's in front of the umpire, you can't review. If it's behind the umpire, you can. So he's waiting for word from his video replay judge, and do I challenge this or not?
All you got to do is walk down that right field line and see where the ball hit. And there's a big spot down there. It's pretty close.
Nope. No review requested. No challenge.
There's another look. About as close as you can get without catching the chalk.
All it's got to do is hit any part of that line. Again, it's like the foul pole. It's a moniker that doesn't fit. It's really a fair pole, and it's really a fair line.
Right.
There's the mark. It's a foul ball. Good call by Buckner. And that one will be fouled back, and that really hurt Ramos. Ramos caught that one.
Moving around a little bit. Not rubbing it, though. You see him trying to reach out for this ball. Markakis fouls it off right off the top of that left shoulder. No padding there.
See him shaking his head, I'm okay, looking over into the dugout. Not really, but
trying to make that pain small.
Markakis works the count to 3-2. The Orioles really piling up the numbers here on Pfister pitch count wise at 46. With nobody out in the third inning. 3-2 delivery on the way and hit him. So Nick Markakis goes down. That is the fourth hit batter this year by Pfister.
He hasn't thrown a lot of curveballs in this game. Might be why. Spikes this one right off Markakis' foot. See the big break, but he yanked it across his body and catches Nick right on top of his lead foot.
So the Orioles get the leadoff man on. Hard way to go. That is the second time Nick has been hit by a pitch, and the pitch there is a strike. Steve Pearce drew a walk, scored. As Pfister gave up 2 free passes in the first inning, and 1 came around. And off the end of the bat and foul. If the numbers tell the truth, Fister's much better out of the stretch than the windup. Bases empty, 282. People on, 208. Big difference. 0-2 count on Pierce. Fouls it off, got around on it.
Well, you see his ability to use both sides of the plate. Has to run that two-seamer in. Ahead of the count, maybe wanted it in off the plate a little bit more. He's thrown the cut fastball pretty good. And he uses it like his slider. Doesn't have that good down bite action at the end of the pitch. It's more stays on that lateral plane.
Then he went up and gets a strikeout.
Steve Pierce giving chase here. We haven't seen him chase many pitches, but you see the frustration as this one rides up and out of the zone right after the swing.
So that will bring Adam Jones to the plate. Jones a strikeout victim. Fister with the 2 Ks in the ball game so far. Adam up with a runner on at first base and 1 out. And goes after it and gets a base hit. Jumped on it. Another pitch that was up. And the Orioles have runners at first and second with only 1 away.
Adam Jones, he's a big guy. He's got long arms. This isn't really a terrible pitch. It's that cutter that he throws, and it kind of sweeps itself across the plate. You see him reach out there. Pitch is on the outer third, almost outer corner, and he's able to still get the barrel on it, pull it through that 5-6 hole.
So Cruz will get the opportunity. The potential tying runs are on base against Fister. Cruz has drawn a walk. 3-game hit streak for Nelson. Runners off first and second base. Cruz goes after it right where they weren't playing him. Long run. Espinosa will make the play. Boy, Espinosa was holding the runner. He was way over by second base, so he had a long way to go. It will move the runners up.
Now, well, good thing for Fister, there was enough movement riding in on Nelson Cruz. Yeah, Espinosa had to show his range a little bit. Ends up getting there and make it an easy out, but that was a potential double play ball if he was in a different position.
Chris Davis will get a chance to tie the ball game up. 2 down, 2 on. Already an RBI picked up on a base hit. Chris now at the 280 mark with runners in scoring position, and he'll foul that one the other way.
Let's take a look at the Jeep inside the numbers for Chris Davis. Highest average in interleague play since 2013. Yeah, he's leading the way with a 406 batting average. Anthony Rendon on that list with 361. McCutchen, Tulowitzki, and Joe Mauer there as well. Chris Davis, though, 13 home runs during that span. That's second in Major League Baseball. And we talked about the timing of it all. This couldn't be better for Chris Davis in that little bit of a slump, and now to get back in interleague play where he feels comfortable. At least the numbers show he's comfortable.
Fister coming inside. 1 ball, 1 strikeout on Davis, who is 4 for 11 with a couple of home runs off Fister. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and there's a major league pop-up. Third base, Rendon back, and he will put it away. So the Orioles, no runs on 1 hit, no errors. 2 are left in scoring position. Words on this one, identifying the low point of this train wreck, talking about the Red Sox has become a parlor game throughout New England. Meanwhile, we hear only the sounds of silence from ownership. In the Boston Globe and the Red Sox, we said Przinski's been designated for assignment today. They start changing things up. And on the Yankees, from CBSSports.com, talking about Brian McCann is perfectly healthy. Getting him back to being the Brian McCann of old will help the team's beleaguered offense more than any realistic trade pickup. That was followed up by Terry Pendleton, the Atlanta hitting coach who worked with McCann in Atlanta, saying McCann is never going to be good in New York because it's not his kind of city and he's not the kind of player to be there. Followed by McCann responding, "I love New York." Oh, mama. A lot of fun when you're losing, isn't it?
Right.
And how about the fact the Yankees, you may know, sports fans around the country, Tanaka's gone on the DL, and it looks like that right elbow is suggesting Tommy John surgery.
What a mess in the American League East. Not for the Orioles, thank goodness. Everybody pretty healthy and playing some real good baseball. But yeah, the Yankees, that news about Tanaka. Of course, they lost CC Sabathia. Pineda has still been out. They traded Nuno away to get some pitching help, getting McCarthy from the Diamondbacks. But DFA'd Soriano, Solarte, who was a big offensive part of their team early on, they sent him down.
Amazing. Yeah. Really amazing. And Tampa Bay, which trying desperately to get on a roll, can't seem to do it. I mean, they win a couple, then they lose a couple. They're just back and forth with that. So it's all to the Orioles' benefit. 1 ball, 2 strike count, but as Buck Showalter says, we take care of our own business and they'll take care of theirs. And getting the W's is what it's all about, and that's what the team has done so far. 9 games over, their season high above 500.
Well, Buck is about as realistic as anybody. He knows that it's just the All-Star break. There's a long way to go. Zimmerman to center field, a little wind blowing from left to right, and Jones will get there and put it away. Zimmerman out as we go to the 4th inning. 1 down. The Orioles host the American League East rival Yankees in a 3-game weekend series starting Friday. Tickets are going fast. Saturday's game a near sellout, so don't miss out on this great weekend. For each game, fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food items and cash donations to the park. It's to benefit the Maryland Food Bank, part of the annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive. For tickets, Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Showalter has issued these starters. Chen and Gonzalez are going to go in the ball game tomorrow night against Washington, and then the Yankees will be in. Ground ball hit by Harper. Boy, this is National League Baseball. Jonathan Scope, and there are 2 down. And then in the Yankee series, Miguel Gonzalez opens up. Hiroki Kuroda to pitch. Ubaldo Jimenez and Shane Green are scheduled Saturday, and then the ESPN game on Sunday. Chris Tillman. Tanaka was scheduled, so we don't know who's going to be pitching in that one for the Yankees. And note the start times on these games. Tomorrow night's 7:05, Friday's 7:05, Saturday is a 4:05 game, 4:05 Saturday, and then Sunday night at 8:05. Pitch down low, Ian Desmond. Desmond flying out his first time up. 2 down, nobody on. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Nationals. The Orioles 1-3-0. O's have left 4. The Nationals 1. And Desmond fouls it off. Well, Bud Norris starting to settle in. You saw their 7 consecutive batters retired. Working the breaking ball well down in the zone there. Pitching coach Dave Wallace looking on. Certainly an approval here in the last couple innings. First inning, 26 pitches thrown, 3 hits, a couple doubles, a couple runs against Norris, but he is settling in and looking good.
Back into the screen. We add another to the list tonight, Mike. Adam Lynn of Toronto. They're saying 6 to 8 weeks of non-displaced fracture in his right foot. American League East going to have an all-star team on the DL. Injury happened here in Baltimore, and it just hasn't improved. In the air to center, hit hard by Desmond. Jones going back, warning track wall, and goodbye, home run. Ian Desmond delivers the long ball. That's number 16 on the year for Desmond. And the second home run for the Nationals in this game. They lead it 4-1.
Desmond, one of the most dangerous offensive shortstops in the game. 16th home run. You got to be careful. That pitch elevated a little bit. You see the slider, but it stays up there, out over, and he gets that extension and hammers it out over Adam Jones's head. Jones giving chase, but that ball carrying with the extra backspin.
That will be Desmond's first home run here at Camden Yards, and the second of his career against the Orioles, and a 4-1 ball game. So 2 homers off Bud Norris coming off the DL to pitch here tonight. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Nationals, and Ramos had the other, and that's in front of the plate. Tagged out. He's out. He didn't run. Tagged out before he ever left the batter's box as Caleb Joseph went out and got that. Fair ball. A run in on 1 hit, no errors. Nobody left on base. The Oriole bats now will be asked to come alive. Don't see many plays like this. Sorry. Like Masson fan photos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast, brought to you by AT&T. Nick Markakis t-shirt night. The silhouette of Nick and the comments made by his teammates about what he means to them on the t-shirt.
Yeah, so well respected, and everybody loves him. Good look at the shirt.
Here is J.J. Hardy, and Hardy will take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Hardy flied out first time up. Doug Fister, a couple of walks, 2 strikeouts. The Orioles run RBI single by Davis in the first. Hardy got a hold of that one in the gap, left center field. Span going, and runs it down. Denard Span.
Fister liking that defense there. J.J. Hardy got into this slider. I think there was a lot of room in that gap, but Span, he fills it up. Nice closing speed as he goes up against that left center field wall. Good defensive play there.
2 outstanding center fielders in this game, both of whom blow bubbles. Here is Manny Machado. Machado a single his first time up, extending his hit streak to 6 games, and outside for a ball. Fister's 7-2 mark, 51 and 52 in his career. 1-0 delivery, got a hold of that one to left field, way up, way back, bats alive, and goodbye, home run, Manny Machado. And he is sizzling. That is his 9th home run, his 20th RBI to pull the Orioles within 2.
Manny Machado has had some pretty impressive swings here in the past few games. This one might have been the most impressive. pull the hands in there and somehow get that bat head for a pretty nasty pitch, hammering out his 9th home run this season.
Well, we've got a home run affair going on here, which Steve Pennington, our Maryland lottery contestant, won't mind. There's another 500, Steve. Strike on the outside corner.
Let's take a look at it right here. Turning the fastball over. It's working itself in there. And look at how tight he pulls those hands in on the body. Hips fly through. Nice swing by Manny Machado. And we've seen him use the whole field here. Look at that back elbow tight to the body. Knows where that bat head is and gets it to it. Off it goes.
And a ground ball down to short. Desmond, no play. Joseph is on. Rendon tried to cut that off. He had a better play once it got by him. Desmond, I don't think he makes a play even if he catches it. The Orioles get the man on. When the Orioles win, everyone wins all season long. When the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Just enter promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Papa John's restaurants. Base hit. Joseph is on, 1 away. Jonathan Scope up and in for ball.
Oh, Manny Machado, his 9th home run. That ball came off the bat at 91 miles an hour. So the bat speed maybe not there, but he kept the hands in tight. And there's a lot of torque involved. And when you get the barrel on the ball properly, you're going to get that carry.
Manny Machado in the month of July, including the ball game tonight where he's gone 2 for 2, has 11 hits and 19 at bats, and 2 of them have been home runs. I think 600. That ball's off the end of the bat, popped up to short. Desmond has got it. Jonathan Scope 0 for 2 in the ball game, leaving Joseph on at first base with 2 down for Nick Markakis. Fister's given up 10 home runs on the year, 7 hit by right-handers. The right-handers have the home runs off him. The left-handers have the average. 285 for left-handers, 223 for right-handers. Markakis hit by a pitch, and he has flied out to center. Nick this month hitting 300. Taken inside. There may be one time in the course of a year you look at the numbers, and for some span he's hitting 260 or 270, but for all the rest of it, it seems like it's always 300.
Yeah,
it's 290 or 300, somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit over for Nick. I mean, that's how consistent he is at the plate. He has been up there among the league's leaders in singles all season long. Part of that because he's using left field so much. 1-1 delivery, foul that way.
Yeah, he uses the whole field. I mean, he isn't afraid to back the ball up and work it down that left field line, and see his ability with his bat speed. He just missed extra bases down the right field line in his last at bat, and he does have the power. I mean, throughout his career, he's been able to drive the ball in the gaps and hit the long ball. 7 home runs this season.
Fouls that one straight back. Nick is second in the American League in multi-hit ball games. 35 multi-hit games for him this season. There's the t-shirt.
See some of the words on there: driven, focused.
Shortly at first base. 1-2 delivery. Nick got jammed. Fouls it back again.
The Orioles, when Buck Showalter came over here and had the opportunity to be the manager of this club, he looked at the veteran players and he knew he had a great group. Guys that were, there's Nick Markakis, we talked about him being the longest tenured Oriole, but the way he's carried himself throughout his career, and Adam Jones and J.J. Hardy brought onto the scene, he knew that he had something great to work with.
Pops that one up, second base. Espinosa will go back underneath it and put it away. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left for Manny Machado. 9th home run of the season. A 2 for 2 ball games so far, and the Orioles now trail by just 2. 4-2. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, by Visit Annapolis.org. Find it here. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. And get to see sunsets like that. 4-2, Chris Davis, obviously. A lot of fans on hand. That's really Chris right there.
Well, he runs out onto the flag court.
Yeah.
You know, he likes to visit with the fans.
Yeah. That's it. You got it. Good imitation of a duck. It's good. Because Chris actually does that. I mean, if fans watch him, when Chris is fooling around, he'll put that arm up there and give you that twist. A 4-2 ball game. Nationals on top. They hit in the 5th inning. Danny Espinosa batting 9th, strikeout victim. His first time up. Switch hitter. All of his career has been with the Nationals. He was a 3rd-round draft pick by the Nationals. Came up through the organization. Matt Williams has him working off the bench and at second base for the moment. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. Foul back.
Bud Norris mixing his changeup a little bit more. Upping his fastball out. You see the pitch count at 63, but 54% fastballs. The slider has gone to 33% at the time, and then you see the change at 13%. So pretty good mix. A couple mistakes have hurt him in the game.
1-2 delivery on the way. 2 runs in the first inning for the Nationals. Back-to-back doubles. Rendon and Werth got him. Werth an RBI. LaRoche an RBI single. Home run. Ramos came in the 2nd inning. Home run. Desmond 4th inning. 2-2 pitch on the way, and that'll be foul back. Orioles RBI single. Davis in the 1st. Home run. Manny Machado in the 4th inning.
Manny's been red hot. Last 3 games. Let's see, he picked up 5 in the first game, 2, 7, 9 hits in his last 3 games, only 10 hits.
2-2 delivery on the way, and that's off the top of the glove. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Bud Norris checking. Just making sure on the count before he throws that next pitch. It is a beautiful sunset around the ballpark here tonight. Espinosa waiting, full count delivery to him, and he checked it, and there's the first walk. And it is a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning. Time's running out for your chance to back the Birds during the second half of the season and get major savings on the Birdland Summer 6-pack. A ticket 26, your choice. Up to 20% off the cost of single game tickets. Lock in your seats and games by going to Orioles.com/6pack. The big house on hand for this ball game tonight. Found it interesting. There were a lot of stories around on not only area writers, but those covering nationally, talking about, is this a future World Series matchup? Not to be scoffed at. There is a distinct possibility that could happen.
Yeah, in the near
future. Be great.
Yeah,
be really interesting. Denard Span, leadoff batter, 0 for 2 in the ball game, 1 for 6 in the series. Espinosa, the runner on at first base. Ooh, that was close. He chose to go back in standing and almost chose to go back to the dugout.
A quick snap throw there by Bud Norris. Almost catches Espinosa sleeping. Wow. That was close. Gets his feet kind of tangled up a little bit. Chris Davis thinks it's on there.
He's showing the baseball. 6 out of 7 stolen bases for him. Runners have gone against Norris this season. Only 4 caught out of 15 attempts. Joseph, of course, 54% throwing out base stealers. Runner not going here. The pitch, though, is way up high. And that will bring Dave Wallace out, the Oriole pitching coach. And Brock will start to throw. Brad Brock in the bullpen.
Dave Wallace, maybe he sees something mechanically. He's losing some of his fastballs up in the zone. Now, Bud Norris is a very aggressive pitcher. He's been going to his off-speed pitches quite a lot here early in this ball game. When he's on, you're going to see him locate that fastball in and out, real aggressive with that pitch. That's his best pitch, and very rarely does he stray from it. But right now, the command with the fastball is a little bit frustrating. Back on that.
Orioles concerned about just how deep he can go in the game since he has not pitched since June 21st. Going on the DL. The groin problem, coming off the DL yesterday to make the start. Rained out. Still held in the spot to make the start. So they'll keep a very close eye here and how the pitches are looking, especially with the bullpen rested. 2-0 count. Runner on first base. Span will foul it away.
When you fall behind, you get yourself into a hitter's count. You got to come up with a good quality pitch. That was a good fastball away there. Get back into the count.
Span with that great speed, third in the National League in doubles. He can put the ball in the gap, and once he gets it there, he's got the speed to turn what might be a single into a double. Goldsmith of Arizona leads with 34 two-baggers. Span is third with 28.
He's got some opportunities here. Machado still in tight on the grass. Of course, the hole opened up with Espinosa at first base. Good offensive situation here for the Nationals.
Nationals leading it by a score of 4-2, and Norris very concerned about the runner over there at first base. Going to hold him with a chance to get a double play, although that would be really tough. You get great speed over at first and even better speed at the plate. 2-1 delivery, runner not going, ground ball towards that hole and off Scope's arm. Throw to first will not be in time. A great second effort. Almost got him, but Span with that speed able to get there ahead of the throw.
And a great recovery there by Jonathan Scope. Almost gloves it, kicks off, but the good concentration. Any other runner probably gets him. Span hustling down that line. Take a look at the play. Span trying to work it through that hole. You see him actually turn those wrists over. Jonathan Scope gets there, but kicks off the glove. See a nice bare hand attempt there, but Span flying down the line.
And that's going to be it. Brad Brock is going to come in to pitch, and Norris will leave responsible for the two base runners on a 4-2 Nationals lead.
Hits, the 4 runs, couple solo shots in there in a rough first inning. the adrenaline going a little bit early on in the game, and then just couldn't quite get that command we've seen Bud Norris had just before his stint on the disabled list. Just 71 pitches thrown for Bud, and there is a Jiffy Lube pitching change now. This pitching change should be quick, just like a Jiffy Lube signature service oil change. At Jiffy Lube, they get you in and out fast, and you never need an appointment. Brad Brock now in out of the Orioles bullpen, and he has been fabulous here recently. His last 3 appearances, all 3 wins. An earned run average at .326, 27 strikeouts to 13 base on balls. Opponents hitting .231, lefties up to .286, but the righties down to .197. That's a great cross-body delivery. Get that fastball up in the mid-90s. A slider and a change to go with it.
Rendon is at the plate. There are 2 on. That was a base hit credited to Span. So for Norris, the 4+ innings, 6 hits, a walk, the 2 strikeouts, and responsible for the 2 runners who are on. Bud will stay to watch. Rendon waiting on it, and he will foul it off. Obviously, big moment in this ball game because a chance for the Nationals to have a big inning, getting the first 2 on base, and a chance for Brad Brock to get him out of there.
See the inherited runner strand to 79%, 11 out of 14. That's pretty good. Brock keeping the ball down, trying to get that ground ball.
He's retired 11 out of 17 first batters faced. Worked on Sunday at Boston. 1-1 delivery put up in the air, right field. Markakis a run over. Tagging at second, Espinosa. He's going to go. Here's the throw. Markakis, it'll be cut off. So Espinosa hustles over to third base on the fly ball out, putting runners at first and third with 1 away.
Pretty good base running there by Espinosa. The good speed. And even a better job by J.J. Hardy cutting that ball off to keep the double play in order.
Brock getting his 4th win against no losses in that Sunday outing. The 12-inning affair against the Red Sox. He had 3 very solid innings. Gave up only 1 hit, a walk, and 3 strikeouts in that ball game against Boston. Now a Peel play at second. Nope. Said he tagged up appropriately after the ball was caught. Now Brock checking on the coverage at second for a potential double play. Werth coming up. Werth has doubled in a run, and he is grounded out. He is 1 for 2. Brad Brock trying to get out of this inning without allowing a run after the first 2 had reached. And Werth will take it for a strike.
A nice pitch right there from Brad Brock. A lot like Pfister, the way he delivers the baseball coming across his body, and if you're not used to seeing him, tough to pick up that release point. Jason Werth getting buckled a little bit on the slider.
0-1. Big lead at first. Runner not going anywhere. And the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Werth has started the month of July off a hot hitter for this Washington team. Now had 10 hits in his last 24 at bats. Pitch will be taken down low, including a couple of home runs. 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Well, this series was being hyped up as obviously a pretty good one because a couple of the best teams in the game going at it, but some of the best players. Of course, Jason Werth, you mentioned, he was the National League Player of the Week.
Runner goes. Joseph's throw, a good one, but no chance.
A great jump right there by Span. He realized they weren't paying attention to him, and off he goes. Take a look at that jump. Quick first step, and he's at top speed in a hurry. Good first slide. Caleb Joseph coming out of the chute. It's a great throw, but speed wins that one.
He continues to pick up the stolen bases, 14 out of 16 for him. Now there are 2 in scoring position. So it makes this at bat by Werth even more important. 3-1 delivery on the way to him, and he'll take it, and they're loaded. Two walks in the inning, one by Norris, one by Brad Brock, the only 2 the Nationals have picked up in the game. Now with the sacks full, that'll bring LaRoche up to the plate. He's got an RBI single, and he has grounded out. Bases loaded, 1 out, 4-2. Nationals on top. LaRoche with the 3 grand salamis in his career. He's got Espinosa, Span, and Werth on ahead of him with 1 away. And ball 1.
Yeah, very dangerous hitter. 12 home runs this year. That .290 batting average. Great veteran hitter. Take a look at his power zone. Fills it up all over the plate. You make mistakes on the dish, and he can make you pay in a hurry.
2 for 6 with the sacks full this year. No grand slam. Now he's really got it where he wants it as a hitter. 2-0.
You see that nice quiet take. He's thinking about getting a pitch elevated. His pitch here, 2-0. I mean, there's a long way to go in this at bat. So he's isolating on one spot in the zone.
He got it in the air to center field. Going back, Adam Jones thinks there's room. There is. Makes the catch. Espinosa will tag and score. Span will go over to third base, and it is a 5-2 ball game as LaRoche will pick up the RBI, and that's his second run batted into the ball game. He's got 47 on the year.
Now gets himself into that good hitter's count, gets a pitch he can handle, and almost hits it out of the park. Span tagging from second base, ends up on third. Jason Werth, though, questionable base running. Should have been a tag all the way around. He would have gotten himself in scoring position. Now the possibility of the force out up the middle. So that's a help to the Orioles.
And there are 2 down. Zimmerman 0 for 2 and a couple of fly ball outs in the game. Runners off first and third. And he will take the pitch for a strike. Zimmerman 261 with runners in scoring position on the year. 1 home run in these situations. Here's the 0-1 delivery to him. That will miss. Brock thought he might have had it, didn't get the call. And a 1 ball 1 strike count.
Well, Brock makes a great pitch. I mean, that's a pitcher's pitch down and away to a very tough right-handed hitter. Yeah, and every pitcher wants that call.
Runners off first and third. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way, and that's in the dirt. Good stop made by Joseph. And the count goes to 2-1. Brock has not thrown a wild pitch this season, working 31 innings now. Bud Norris, the starter, charged with a run that is scored, responsible for the runner at third. Swing and a miss. Brought that one in a little closer to the plate, and he went after it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, just challenges it with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. It's about belt high, and Zimmerman lets it fly. Pretty good velocity there at 94.
Nationals, a 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position in the ball game. Another chance here. 2-2 delivery. He's working that same spot again. He thought he had it, but he's not getting that call. 3-2.
Well, that time both Brock and Caleb Joseph kind of turned their head to the side. You see the pitch track. There's both of those pitches are filling up the box. Quality pitches down and away. Caleb blocking it up, but just not getting the call on both.
Davis behind the runner at first, who will be going. 3-2 delivery on the way, and that's outside. So Brock with a couple of walks in the inning, and that's loading the bases. That will load the bases again.
Caleb having a little conversation with the home plate umpire about 3 of those pitches, even that last one pretty close.
All 3 walks surrendered by Norris and Brock have come in this inning. Espinosa, the leadoff walk, has already scored, and here is Bryce Harper. So Harper's going to get a chance with the bases loaded and 2 down. The Nationals have a run in here in the 5th to take a 5-2 lead in the ball game. Infield, of course, backing up with 2 down, and the pitch outside for a ball. Brock having to work from behind on these hitters. Harper's 1 for 2 with the bases loaded this season. It was a triple bases loaded triple that he had earlier this year. 1-0 pitch. Got a hold of that one, but right at Nick Markakis. And that will retire the side. So only one run in on only one hit. They leave the bases loaded, and it is a 5-2 Nationals lead. Of the short 2-game set, Wei and Chen will be on the mound against Gio Gonzalez. Coverage on Masson will begin at 6:30 with those extra, presented by Geico, followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Masson.
And here's a look at tomorrow's starters. Gio Gonzalez, another one of those good arms in this rotation. 6 wins this year with a 3.52 earned run average. Wei and Chen, 8 wins on the year, but he's looking to lower that earned run average. Pretty good start in his last start. 6 strong innings, just a couple earned runs allowed.
Here is Desmond. His 16th home run came in the 4th inning, 1 for 2 in the or rather Pierce up. Pierce will hit it down to third and foul. Sorry about that. I'm looking at a story on, I was reading a story on Desmond. Talk about it when he comes up to the plate. Pierce, 1 ball, 1 strike count. 1-2.
Steve Pierce not liking that call up in the zone there after a couple tight ones the last inning.
Pfister in a hurry, 1-2 delivery, and launches it foul. Pierce got a walk in the first inning and scored on the RBI base hit by Davis. Pierce, Jones, and Cruz do up against Pfister. Pfister up to 76 on the pitch count. Kind of settled that in over the last 2.5 innings. Down to third, hit hard, knocked down, and on the money with the throw. He can play second, he can play third, Rendon.
Well, there are a lot of different ways to play. You create some angles, or you got to take one for the team, and he squares up, takes it in the belly, but look at him, nice and relaxed, bare hands the baseball, and the strong arm across the diamond. Nice play there by Rendon. Actually assigned as the third baseman, came up through the minor leagues, and then they needed his bat and the offensive help, so he took a few days and learned how to play second, much like Manny Machado, all through the minor leagues, playing shortstop, and then spent some time learning how to play third base with infield coach in the minor leagues at that time, Bobby Dickerson. And boy, when you're a good athlete, you can play anywhere. Rendon, Machado, a couple good young players in the game.
And that will be fouled off. We were looking to see Rendon right now in that final All-Star game spot is third in the National League voting. Fans voting for the final member of each of the rosters. Justin Morneau has the lead, and Rendon's third in the voting in the National League. They don't issue the number of votes. Thursday at 4 is the final chance to cast a ballot. Foul back. Adam with a big cut. 1 ball, 2 strike count. He is singled and struck out.
Adam wants that one back. An elevated changeup. He took a healthy pass at it.
So the Oriole bats will be asked to do what they have done so often in the first half of the season, and that's come alive late in the ball game. Orioles have done that a lot this season. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Jones got jammed on that one. Desmond's got it. I mean, you got a couple of cannons over there on the left side of that infield.
Yeah, that's one of the strongest arms in the game right there.
2 down.
Yeah, Desmond seemed to make some pretty good plays, but he lets them fly, and he gets on top of the baseball. It almost has that rise effect. LaRoche over there having to kind of play it gingerly. Can't just reach out and catch it because it's got the rise effect as it comes across that infield.
So Cruz going to take a while to come to the plate here. Trying to slow Pfister down a little bit. 2 down, nobody on. Cruz has walked and grounded out. Pfister's delivery to him, and that will be in there for a strike. With the 0 for 1 in the ball game, now 8 for 22. Lifetime off Pfister, whom the Orioles saw a lot of with Seattle and Detroit before coming over to pitch for the Nationals. That's why so many of the Orioles have the number of at-bats they do against him. He did pitch in the American League those years. 1 ball, 1 strike count. And that'll be taken outside. Pfister brings a postseason presence to this team, with the Tigers in particular. 7 postseason starts. He was 6-1. Ball's going to be put in the air, not deep. Span started back, has to come way in, and will put it away. So a quick inning for Doug Pfister. Retires the side in order and protects the Nationals' 3-run lead. The achiever in you.
That's Quentin Berry, and he's been hot here last 10 games at 286 batting average. Look at that on-base percentage at 444. 8 runs, 8 RBI, a couple stolen bases, and he's having himself a real good year. 373 on-base percentage, 16 stolen bases with 3 home runs at 283 batting average. And this is the type of depth. It's quality depth as well. Now, Quentin Berry, he had some big league time with the Tigers, actually went to the World Series with them, and then the next year some big league time with the Red Sox, went to the World Series with them. So if they need, they got some guys that have had the experience in the game and the postseason experience as well down in Norfolk.
Where does that energy come from? Can we capture it? Here is Desmond. I was reading a story. Tom Boswell, the outstanding writer for the Washington Post. Desmond apparently had been offered a deal, 6 years, $80 to $90 million. He turned it down, took a 2-year deal rather than the lengthy contract. He's going to be a free agent, could be, at the end of next season. So already the Nationals are trying to figure out, all right, what do we do? Do we go back and try it again? Do we figure he's going to be gone? 0-2 delivery to him. Desmond will foul it back.
Well, I'm not going to comment on him turning down that 6-year offer. He obviously believes that he can get more. Turned down a pretty good deal, and to have that kind of security to play in Washington, which is every year they're considered a potential playoff World Series caliber team.
Yep. 0-2 count. And Desmond will take it outside. His home run came in the 4th inning, his 16th, and he has flied out. Espinosa, who's playing second base tonight, is one of those players, if Desmond goes, who might be a shortstop in the future for them. Ground ball towards third base. Manny Machado. Mercy. Not that easy, sports fans. As promised earlier in the game, our AT&T's fan photo. Loving couple enjoying things together, as you see. He lets her hold the cup for the picture and then immediately takes it away, throws one spoon away and eats it all.
Yeah, here, honey, hold my ice cream.
Here, hold this.
Okay, give it back. Give it back.
Here's Ramos, who had a home run in the 2nd inning, his 3rd, and grounded out to the catcher. 1 down, nobody on, and a strike taken. He fouled that ball off. Well, he thought he fouled it off, but it actually was a fair ball right in front of the plate, and Caleb Joseph picked it up and tagged him out.
Saving his legs. Catchers, they work hard back there, and he sees the ball just dribbling out in front of the plate about 6 inches, and he's like, well.
And he's had leg problems. They're concerned about
that.
That's
right. They don't want to lose his bat either. He's been red hot. 12-game hitting streak now.
So now you have the answer to the question of possible to have a ground ball to the catcher. Pitch will be taken outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Brad Brock on for Norris. Orioles starter. And a swing and a miss. That delivery. Ramos looking out like, never saw that.
Yeah, some late life on the end. They were almost tough to pick up as Brock throws across the body. It's on the plate, but 94 miles an hour, and it gets on him quick. The hitter loses about an extra foot facing a pitcher like Brock because they can't pick it up as well.
So 2 down, and Espinosa coming up. 2 away, top of the 6th inning. Espinosa drew a leadoff walk in the 5th inning off Norris, came around to score. They got a run on 1 hit in the 5th. Way up in the air and caught. Nice play. Running into the brick wall, and doing so is Caleb Joseph, and comes off the wall limping a little bit. Brock has a 1-2-3 inning. I'm good. I'm good. having been rained out. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick here. For Norris, the Orioles were concerned about the long layoff and the coming off the groin injury, coming off the DL. So I think kind of what they expected. I mean, hope for better, but
yeah. Well, you got to be careful with him. Obviously, they want him to be strong for the second half. I mean, he was pitching so well for the Orioles. You know, I think there were a lot of anxiety there that first inning. Saw some mistakes there, and he really kind of labored through. He settled down a little bit, and then a couple mistakes. Didn't have the great fastball command that we've seen from Bud Norris, but yeah, I think it was a good outing for him to get back and going. Now it's kind of up to Brad Brock and the bullpen to really shut down the Nats and let this Orioles offense go back to work.
And Buck Showalter wanted to get Bud Norris into actually have 2 starts. That ball's going to go in the gap for a base hit. Chris Davis bats looking a whole lot better here in these 2 games. He's 2 for 3 in this ball game with an RBI now. He's picked up 2 singles. That one a leadoff single in the 6th inning. I was going to say Buck Showalter would like to have Bud Norris pitch again before the All-Star break. He said today if Bud has a short outing today, he'll go in the bullpen for Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, wants to get him his work, keep him strong.
Yep. And the Orioles do it again. You get the murmuring going around the ballpark here. They've seen it before. Bottom half of the 6th inning, and that's going to go to the backstop. A wild pitch. 3rd of the year by Fister. That'll take away the double play and move Davis down to second base.
And holds on to that breaking ball a little bit too long to the backstop. Getting in scoring position. J.J. Hardy has been very good this season with runners in scoring position. You want to pick up some marks when you can. You see that .314 batting average, 23 RBIs for Hardy.
1-0 delivery to him, and that is in there for a strike. Talked about hot bats. Hardy's one of them.
Oh, yes, he has. Last 10 games, that .300 batting average, a couple home runs with 7 RBI. He's been using the whole field as well, so very dangerous right now. He's been hovering around .300 all year.
Off on the first base side, Davis heads back to second base. Orioles down by 3. That 5th inning run looms ever larger. Made it a 3-run differential. Matt Williams' team. 1-2. Runner held by Espinosa at second base. Hardy on a pitch down and away. Fister gets his 3rd strikeout.
That's good breaking ball there. Great location. A couple pitches into Hardy. See this one just dive bomb down and away. See him get on the side of the baseball, staying flat, and then right at the end, good downward action.
91 in the pitch count. Manny Machado's had a homer and a single. Runner at second base and 1 out. Manny with 9 home runs on the year now, outside for a ball.
Hitting the ball all over the place, and he gets to one, maybe just in off the plate, somehow able to clear those hips and get the bat head to the baseball. Staying hot. Another celebration with Nelson Cruz.
1-0 delivery to him, way outside. Fister overthrowing that one. And the count goes to 2-0.
Coach Steve McCaddy on the phone.
Hit hard, base hit into left field. Davis will go to 3rd. Machado another multi-hit game, 3 for 3 in this one. Sunday night, the Orioles host the Yankees for a special primetime ESPN nationally televised game. Key Eastern Division rivalry showdown. Final home game before the All-Star break. A perfect chance to paint the park orange. Show some Birdland pride to the nation. Get your tickets at 888-848-BIRD. Warm-up action. Aaron Barrett, Jerry Blevins in the bullpen. Caddy pitching coach, who saw he'd been on the phone, will come out to talk to Fister.
Well, Steve McCaddy and so many teams around the league well aware that this Orioles offense can explode and put some big numbers up on in a hurry. Maybe a little talk just to settle Fister down, give the arms in that Nats bullpen time to get loose, because they could be 1 pitch away from really getting right back into this ball game.
Fister has averaged 6 1/3 innings. in the starts he's made this year. Like the Orioles, of course, the Nationals have had magnificent bullpen, so they have not been reluctant to go there as needed. So the Orioles get runners on at first and third. Joseph hit into a double play and has picked up a single. Caleb waiting on it and will take it for a ball. For Manny Machado, he has picked up his 17th multi-hit game. That one is going to be fouled off. He, of course, has had a career-high 5-hit ball game in the last week. And boy, he's really adding some offense. The hot bat in the month of July.
Oh, man, he just 8 hits here in the 2 games against the Nationals. Yeah. A couple home runs.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way. And a strike in the outside corner. Manny against the Nationals for his career now has got 15 hits in 25 at bats with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Down to third. Oh, mama. There is a major league, perhaps game-saving double play. The second time in this ball game, Rendon down at third has made a play like that, and this one ends the inning. It remains a 5-2 ball game.
Couple runs in the first inning. Ramos gets to him 104 miles an hour off the bat. It's a solo shot. That was in the second inning. Then in the fourth, Desmond jumps all over a pitch, up and out, over. Another solo shot. Bud Norris, the early exit, 4+ innings of work for Bud. But Manny Machado, he gets the hips turned and the bat head to the pitch and stays red hot with his solo shot. Keeps this Orioles offense in the game. See the score here. Nationals with that 5-2 lead. They're well aware of the offensive potential that this Orioles team has. That Brock's still on to try to shut down this Nats offense. Remember, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
And the Nationals bat as we go to the top of the 7th inning. 5-6-0 for the Nationals, 2-7-0 for the Orioles. Orioles have left 6-4 left on by the Nationals. 4 of the 6 for the Orioles have been left in scoring position against Doug Fister. And the pitch will be taken up high. Here's the leadoff batter, Denard Span. The base hit, stolen base in the game, 1 for 3, couple of hits, 7 at bats in the series. 1-0 delivery on the way, and that one's going to be taken. Albert Pujols, another home run today, number 512 in his career. He's tied the great Atlanta third baseman Eddie Matthews and Mr. Chicago Cub Ernie Banks on the all-time list with 512. Brad Brach with a 2-0 delivery, and the pitch is there for a strike. Remember, Toronto has lost their ball game today earlier. Angels beat them by a score of 8-7. Angels are, after looking like they were just going to fall away and be forgotten, they're back in it. They're making a run at Oakland. 2-1 delivery on the way. Same location, same call. 2-2.
Nice job getting himself back into this count. Stan having a little discussion. Plate umpire. Take a look at the pitch track. Everything off the plate. Joseph, though, must be receiving the ball pretty well, getting a couple calls there. 2-2 count.
Span trying to get on to lead off this 7th. 2-2 delivery on the way by Brach. He'll pop that one up. First base, Davis. In foul territory, he's got it. The 5th annual Casey Cares 5K at Oriole Park is going to take place on Saturday, August 2 at 8 a.m. And once again, Nick Markakis and his wife Christina will serve as the race ambassadors. The 3.1-mile race walk will begin outside Oriole Park. It ends on the field. Runners get a race shirt, race packet, and refreshments. Plus, winners in each age group will be announced in a special pregame ceremony later that day. To register, go to Orioles.com/CaseyCares. Check swing. Rendon's working the ball game. A double, and he scored in the first inning, 1 for 3, and has made 2 outstanding defensive plays in the field.
Quite a pick there in that last inning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Picking that one behind him.
Obviously has tremendous reflexes that you have to have as a third baseman. And a great arm. 2-0 count. Rendon hitting at .284. 13 home runs, taking all the way, and a strike in the outside corner. So Brach 2-1. Birds on hand, having a good time with the fans, and there are lots of them to enjoy.
Come on, put his head in your mouth.
That ball hit in the air right field. Nick Markakis over near the warning track, and he'll haul it in. Nice
play right there by Nick Markakis. You know, we talk here around All-Star time, some players that get snubbed. Well, Markakis is certainly one of those players that even his teammates talk about should be on that All-Star team. Great defense, of course, the consistent offense that we've talked about all year. We just saw his great range as he goes down into that right field corner to take a hit away.
Nick among the top 5 in the American League in outfield assists. Werth started in, turns away. Something in his eye there. He had a double. RBI in the first inning. Has grounded out and drawn a walk in the game. Oh my. Way back and goodbye home run. So the home runs were hit by the Orioles in the game on Monday. The home runs are being hit by the Nationals in this one as they pick up their third. And for Werth, he extends the Nationals lead to 6-2.
Jason Werth was very hot coming in. And that home run will knock Brad Brach out of the ballgame. 8th home run of the season.
So Werth's bat on fire.
He gets a change up here on the inner third, and he catches it out in front.
Oops. 45th RBI of the season for him, and for Brach, after doing the 360, he'll head off.
strikeouts and 13 walks in his 30 1/3 innings of work. He's on to get the lefty LaRoche out. See the lefty's batting average down to 237. He's hitting 297 overall.
2 down and nobody on. And LaRoche will take the pitch for a ball. He has hit left-handers well, 286. 289 against right-handers. Brad Brock on the right, surrendering the home run to Werth on the left. Werth has had 4 home runs against the Orioles. 3 of them have been hit here. That ball to second base on a double hop. And the throw will be there in time to retire the side. The O's do-up brought to you by Mazda. Scott Markakis and Pierce, 7th inning stretch time at Camden Yards. Their representative to the All-Star game in the People All-Star Teachers Program. It celebrates remarkable current retired teachers, the impact they have on their students and the community. Arentz has been a teacher for 16 years, English and Latin at Sparrows Point High School, involved very much in the extracurricular activities of the team, things like of the school, rather, like Student Council, Future Educators of America. He will be at the All-Star game. One of the 30 to be there will be recognized. Congratulations and thank you to all of the great teachers for the work they do. There are fewer groups more underappreciated than American teachers. It is foul back. The Orioles down by a score of 6-2. Pfister started out looking like he might have some problems in this ball game, has settled it in, giving up the 2 runs on 7 hits, which will be taken away. Jonathan Scope leading it off. He has grounded out, popped out Markakis. Pierce to follow, bottom of the 7th inning, off the fists and back. Pfister seems like he's working faster and faster as the game goes along.
It really is.
Storing in the bullpen.
Trying to keep the Orioles hitters from kind of getting a rhythm. He has been aggressive. He's just rocking and firing. You know, Pfister's last start, he started off kind of slow, gave up a 3-run homer, and then kind of closed the door on the Colorado Rockies to pitch 7 strong innings and come away with a win. He was scuffling early in this ball game as well, but he has settled in, pitched himself out of jams, aided by some great defense, though.
Going to go to second base, perfectly positioned Espinosa. One away, bottom of the 7th inning. He has pitched here in this ballpark before. He has a 1-1 record, ERA of 5.09 in 3 career starts against the Orioles here at Camden Yards. Big house on hand, waiting for the Oriole bats to come alive. Nick Markakis, an 0 for 2. He has been hit by a pitch. Fastball is going to miss up high to him. And that pitch will be in there for a strike. Pfister, like the Orioles starter Bud Norris, kind of has that pitching backward things going. His numbers are better. Opponents hit lower after a 1-0 count than they do after a 1-strike count. When he throws a ball in the first pitch, the average 187. When it's a strike, 254. That's one of those go figure things.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of it might be just elevating his off-speed pitches. We've seen his fastball work so well down in the zone.
Slow roller. Rendon again. Bare hands it. Oh, mama. I mean, we got some mercies going in this game. This kid at third base is just tearing it up, and he got some help from LaRoche, who's got such a soft glove at first base.
He's made some really nice plays in this series. Made a nice barehand play running up the middle from second base in the first game. Well, here's a nice barehand look from third. Helped out on the end by LaRoche. Pretty good athleticism over there on the corner.
So he's really helped Pfister. What Mike was talking about, these defensive plays. That one's over his head, ducking down Steve Pearce. Two down, nobody on. Pearce on the off-speed breaking ball, and that's there for a strike. Orioles getting a run in the first inning on the Davis single. Home run Manny Machado in the fourth. Did he go? Check it first. New. Those are the two runs for the Orioles. Otherwise, it's been about Pfister. 2-1 pitch. Long, but probably foul. Yep. That was higher than the fair pole.
Quite a swing right there by Steve Pearce. I love this. You don't see many closed stances in the game. Most guys have opened up. I mean, so many guys throwing the hard fastball. It's hard to really fire those hips when they're closed off.
And another ground ball to third. Rendon up, hop step. Well, almost cost him with that speed, but he got him. And another 1-2-3 inning for Pfister. We've completed 7 here at Camden Yards. The Nationals lead at 6-2. University of Maryland University College. It was on this date in 1903 that a Norfolk-born pitcher by the name of Dan McClellan became the first black player to throw a perfect game. He was pitching for the Philadelphia Giants against York, Pennsylvania in the Tri-State League. And another great pitching performance, 1971. The A's defeated the Angels 1-0, 20 innings, the longest shutout in American League history. In that 20-inning ball game, Oakland's Vita Blue fanned 17 batters in the first 11 innings.
Wow, that's impressive.
Woof. That's a lot of innings.
Oakland A's had some good teams back in the early 70s.
Yes, they did. Here is Zimmerman, who will take it outside for a ball. I saw that note, Dan McClellan. I went back and just to look him up. He was born in Norfolk, Virginia in 1878. He played 9 games as a pitcher and 42 as an outfielder in the Negro Leagues. Ended up with a 5-3 lifetime mark as a pitcher out of Norfolk, Virginia. 2-0 count. Zimmerman 0 for 2 and a walk in the ball game. Brian Mattis staying on. Got the final out against LaRoche to end the 7th inning. That pitch is in there for a strike.
Good to try to keep it down there. Brian Mattis, the good velocity at 93 miles an hour. Keep it down, make it tough on Zimmerman.
Two ball, 1 strike delivery on the way. Off the end of the bat, down the line. Markakis, long run. In fair territory, makes the catch. Good play by Nick. All-star voting is not over, not quite yet. One more player for each roster, and you can vote for that player until tomorrow at 4. Go to Orioles.com, cast your all-star game final vote. Final 2 All-Stars will go to Minnesota. That's at Orioles.com till 4 o'clock Thursday. Ryan Webb in the Orioles bullpen. One down here is Bryce Harper. Harper 0 for 3, 0 for 6 in the 2 games. And he will take the pitch for a strike. Harper this year 13 for 32 off left-handers. That's a .406 average. 1 home run. 0-1 delivery by Mattis and a towering pop-up. Shallow right. Scope. Called off. Then Markakis makes the catch.
A little bit of frustration right there from Harper. You can tell he's getting close because he wanted that one, just missed it. A monster shot. I think the Orioles hoping he stays just close for this game and the next game.
Ian Desmond up. Desmond, the home run in the 4th inning, is 16th. We'll take it away for a ball. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Desmond, 2 home runs lifetime against the Orioles. First home run he's had here at Camden Yards tonight. 1-0 delivery on the way, and it's down low.
Trying to get that changeup in there now. He got Zimmerman. Nice fastball down in the zone at 93 and backed it up with a beautiful changeup. And when Brian Mattis was on, when he was starting, he had that great ability, and those were his weapons against the right-handed hitters. So just missing there on Desmond with the change.
Another massive pop-up. Davis will come to help. Joseph throws under it. Look out. Davis will make the play. So Brian Mattis has a quick 8th inning, retiring the side in order. Orioles coming up the middle of the order, going to the bottom of the 8th. Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Baltimore Orioles.
Well, Doug Fister out of the ball game. He leaves with a 6-2 lead. Gave up just the 7 hits, 7 strong innings, a couple runs, a solo shot by Manny Machado, a couple walks in the ball game. They came early, 3 punch-outs, 113 pitches thrown. He was helped out by some great defense, and he was able to keep that ball down and get some ground balls. Well, Drew Storen now comes in relief. 33 games this year, a couple wins on the year, but look at that earned run average of 1.29, 22 strikeouts, just 5 walks for Storen. Opponents hitting just 210, lefties at 238, righties at 190. Storen, power right-hander, 93 to 95 with the fastball. Good slider and change to go along with it.
Drew Storen came out of the bullpen in that game on Monday, worked an inning, giving up no runs on 2 hits. He has worked scoreless relief in 29 out of 33 appearances for this bullpen. Adam Jones will stand in, despite the fact they got tagged by the Orioles in the 11th inning on Monday. The bullpen for the Nationals, ERA of 2.71, is second best in the National League. Jones will take the pitch, and it is in there for a strike. Adam with a base hit, 1 for 3 in the ball game. He is 1 for 9 in the series. He's always done well against the Nationals with a .343 batting average in his career coming into the ball game. Here's the 0-1. Another one. Sweeping in.
Yeah, real good slider. Some nice sharp depth there. Buckled Adam Jones a little bit. He's got that good live fastball. That one looked like it was headed towards the hip, and then it just bites down into the zone to pick up the second strike.
0-2. See if he goes for the strike. Tries to get him to chase. Too close, but not to swing, and he fouls it upstairs.
Yeah, nice job by Adam Jones to keep it alive. That was a real good 2-seam fastball at 94 miles an hour. Way too close to take. See so many pitchers, with different deliveries to try to create some sort of deception. We saw Fister with that crossbody approach. Even Brad Brock. You do different things. You come up with your own unique style to throw hitters' timing off. Well, take a look at Storen, how he's so quiet, and then all of a sudden violent comes out.
And the ground ball handled by Desmond for the out. Jones retired, 1 away, bottom of the 8th inning. Drew Storen last year pitching for Washington, 4-2 record, 68 games. He had 3 saves. Real workhorse coming out of the bullpen for them. He is 26 years old and another product of the organization. Cruz up, quiet night tonight so far, 0 for 2 and a walk. Cruz, the designated hitter for the Orioles. Yeah, inside off the glove, though, not off Cruz. .292 average and leads the majors. Home runs 28, RBIs 73. 1-0 delivery to him. There's that great pitch down and away. That does move.
Yeah, good changeup. And he has such a great sell. I mean, the quiet kind of glide down the mound, and then the real strong, violent arm action. It makes it tough to pick up that change and actually time it. And he just kind of throws it to the heart of the plate and lets it work.
1-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be put up in the air towards center. And Span will make the catch. And the Oriole bats finding it tough against Fister and now against Storen. 2 down, nobody on. Chris Davis, a couple of hits in the game, 2 singles and an RBI, is 2 for 3. Davis at 206 now on the year. 2 down, nobody on. Storen's pitch to him. That will tail away for a ball. Mets are leading Atlanta 4-1. They're going to the 9th inning in New York. So the Nationals have a chance to gain ground, get a game up on the Atlanta Braves. They came in tied with the Braves in the East.
It's going to be a nice race, National League East. And everything's going to be interesting in baseball the second half after the All-Star break.
We haven't even talked about the wild card. If fans go online somewhere and take a look at the wild card race and look at how many teams are still in it. Teams that you look at in a division setting and say, well, they're toast. But when you look at the wild card, and remember there are 2 of them, you got half the league, 3/4 of it involved in postseason hopes.
Yeah, and that's why so many teams are you willing to try to make a trade to make it to the wild card, or are you going to just try to stick with what you've got?
1 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. And Davis will chop that one foul. I mean, while anything can happen, you look and you say, in the East, probably Tampa Bay and Boston are out. They're 9 and 10.5 out. Minnesota really is the only team out in the Central. Texas and Houston are out in the West. In the National League, probably the Mets and Philadelphia. Only Chicago in the Central. And the National League West looks like it's a Dodger-Giant race, although the Giants have been struggling, allowing the Dodgers to move into first place in the West. But San Diego, Colorado, and Arizona are all double-digit out of first place.
Yeah.
That means there are a lot of teams left. 2 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. Starnes delivery with a little hesitation and another foul ball.
That changeup almost kind of sets up right down the middle of the plate. He just lets it work. There's some pretty good fade there to go along with the arm cell. But Chris Davis doing a nice job fighting off some tough pitches, waiting for a mistake.
Here's the 2-2 delivery and chased one away. So the Orioles are retired in order. Here in the 8th, we go to the 9th inning with the Nationals leading it 6-2. By Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Chapin Davis, providing investments that can produce income from your retirement plan. Call to learn more, 800-222-3246 or at chapindavis.com. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick with you. 6-2 Nationals on top here at Camden Yards. Big house on hand. Seeing a good ball game between 2 division leading ball clubs who are going at it after the Orioles took the extra inning win 8-2 on Monday with their big 6-run 6-hit 11th inning. Brian Matusz stays on the mound. He's retired all 4 batters faced. Wilson Ramos will lead it off here in the 9th inning, and that is in there for a strike.
I think the fans that have come and watched the Orioles Nats games have really been, entertained. They've seen everything. They've seen some really good pitching. They've seen outstanding defense. They've seen the long ball. All good things happening in this series.
Fouled off upstairs. Just for the heck of it, we're looking at the wild card thing in the American League. Right now, the Angels and Seattle would be the wild card teams, but you've got KC, Toronto, Yankees, Cleveland, and the White Sox all within 5.5 games in the wild card race, which is pretty amazing. 0-2 count on Ramos. Long way to go with the All-Star break coming up next week. All-Star game Tuesday in Minneapolis. It's a little later this year, so the teams have played about a week's worth of games more than they normally would have at the All-Star break.
I know there are some teams that can't wait for the All-Star break to come. Try to heal up and recover a little bit and regroup.
Ramos powers it foul.
There are some other teams that want to just keep playing through, feeling good.
This is the 90th game for the Orioles. 89th for the Nationals. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Matusz trying to keep it right where it is. 1-2 delivery will be outside. Norris 5 runs, 6 hits over 4+. Brad Brock came on, a run on a hit, 2 2/3, the home run by Werth. And now Brian Matusz. 2-2 delivery. Detweiler, the left-hander, in the bullpen. Pfister, kind of a quiet, outstanding performance starting for the Nationals. Just a couple of runs, 7 hits, 7 innings, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Ryan Webb is up for the Orioles.
Well, he had to work, 113 pitches, and got himself out of some jams.
2-2 is going to be away.
It is not easy to go through this Orioles lineup, especially as well as they've been swinging.
Pfister retired the side in order a couple of times. Storen's done it once. Here's the 3-2 delivery by Matusz in the air to right center. Markakis. Ball coming back to him, and there's one away here in the top of the 9th inning.
Nice job by Brian Matusz working through that at bat. Ramos, one of the hotter hitters in the game, extending his streak to 12 games here. Brian Matusz working to get that big first out.
Espinosa, leadoff walk in the 5th inning, would come around to score. Each team with 7 hits. But the Nationals have been able to take better advantage. He'll foul that one back. Big cut by Espinosa. I still think the key play of this ball game was back in that 6th inning in that ground ball double play off the bat of Caleb Joseph. It was a 5-4-3 double play. It was a great play at third base. Rendon got it. The Orioles looked like they were going to have an inning. Instead turned a real hard hit ball into a double play that ended the inning. He's been involved. I've marked 1, 2, 3, 4 great defensive plays in the scorebook, and he's in 3 of them. 1 ball, 1 strike count, 1 down. Sound like his agent here tonight, but I'm not. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way, and a swing and a miss. 1-2.
Pretty interesting what approach Espinosa's got from the right side, picking that left foot up and kind of letting it hang there until Brian Matusz starts his delivery. Now, but Rendon has certainly been an impact player for the Nats all season long. That's why there's been such a push for him to make it to the All-Star game. He's been doing this stuff offensively and defensively for this team.
Brian Matusz thought he had a strikeout there. He was turning around to get the ball back after they threw it around.
Yeah, that was a good one. Down in the zone.
2-2. 2 2 strike count. And a breaking ball had a lot of movement on it, but missed. 3-2 again. Right back here tomorrow night. These two teams wrap up this 2-game series here and the 4-game series overall. Wei and Chen, Gio Gonzalez. 6:30 O's extra. 7 o'clock for the ball game. They're going to play on August 4, the makeup game, which is going to be a night game. Here's the 3-2 delivery on the way, and that's fouled back into the screen. So the full count remains 3-2. Both teams had an off day. They may be happy they didn't play last night with all that bad weather. They won't be happy they didn't play last night when August 4 comes. You start giving up days off in August, it hurts. Orioles will be home against Seattle Sunday, then they'll play Monday and then go to Toronto. Nationals are home. And the 3-2 pitch fisted him back.
Brian throwing pretty well here, mixing up his pitches pretty well. He's had some troubles with the right-handed hitters, but look at the pitch track all over the edges. That first pitch, get ahead strike, but other than that, good job locating. Nothing left in the heart of the plate as he's worked through this at bat. Now he's looking for that finishing pitch.
3-2 delivery on the way. Souvenir time at the yard. All these foul balls coming back off the bat of Espinosa. Fan gets a hand for catching the baseball, then handing it over to a youngster sitting in front of him.
That's nice.
That will get you to heaven. One of the few things, but that'll do it. 3 ball, 2 strike count. Real battle joined here. Espinosa's delivery. No play on this one either. That's in the seats.
Not giving in. Still making some quality pitches. Espinosa letting it fly.
Espinosa's had much better luck against left-handers. 273. The right-handers 196. Talked about that great disparity. He's one of the reasons why. The 284 for the team off lefties and 234 off right-handers. 3 ball, 2 strike delivery again by Brian Matusz, and got him. The lefty wins it.
What a great pitch. I mean, what a great battle that was. Espinosa fouling off some real tough pitches. Brian Matusz just keeps pounding that fastball in there, able to catch that down and in corner. Espinosa not liking the call. Brian Matusz executing a big pitch.
So 2 down here in the 9th inning. Top of the order, Denard Span, single, stolen base. He's 1 for 4. A couple of hits and 8 at bats in the 2 games. He will draw Manny Machado in on the grass at third and take the big cut. Nationals lead at 6-2. Each team 7 hits. We're in the 9th. Orioles will get one more shot at it. Will not be a save situation. Pfister the starter, pitcher of record, along with Bud Norris for the Orioles, the 2 starters. Here's the 0-1. And that's going to be taken. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I was talking to pitching coach Steve McCaddy for the Nationals, and he was raving about his rotation and saying it's quite a luxury to have a rotation that can pitch deep into games consistently, and really that's a big reason why their bullpen has been so strong. They're able to really match up well. They've got some great arms down there, but they don't get overused, and
just makes such a difference if you can do that. Orioles bullpen in the majors 4th most innings pitched, and the Nationals on the other end of that. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. And a swing and a miss. It's an impressive performance by Brian Mattis as he works 2 1/3 innings and retires all 7 batters faced. The Orioles bats are there, due up, bottom of the ninth.
Have 3 home runs up till now. The Orioles are down 4 going into the bottom of the ninth, and you know offensively they're never out of a game. Bud Norris, he was gone after 4.
So we'll take a look at the game highlights. We'll hear from Buck Showalter and Bud Norris when those extra post game begin shortly. Let's go back upstairs now to Gary Thor and Mike Gordon.
The Tom and Rick will hang with us here as we go to the bottom of the ninth, see if the Oriole bats can do it again. If they do, it'll be against the left-hander.
Ross Detweiler now in the ball game. 23 games, earned run out average up there, 4.10, 37 1/3 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts. So on the year, opponents hitting 278. Lefties down to 208, but the righties up to 313 with the 4 home runs. Detweiler, a real good fastball, though, 90 to 95 miles an hour, has a curve and a change to go along with it.
Well, the Orioles held to the RBI single in the first inning and the home run by Manny Machado in the 4th. There's a familiar face of one of baseball's really good people as Nate McLeod comes on to play in right field. Well, the buckle up Birds go to work here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Hardy 0 for 3, robbed of a hit his second time up, and a fine play made by Span in center field. So JJ had 1 hit in the series, 1 for 8 home run he put up as part of that 11th inning onslaught the Orioles had on Monday. Detweiler ready to go for Hardy. 244 off the lefties, 305 off righties. Detweiler's pitch, fastball at 92, that's in there for a strike.
The Orioles just looking to get guys on base, and like they talk about all season long, the ability to pass the baton, and they've done it quite a bit this year. 11 times where they've scored 5 runs or more in an inning. So, you know, that potential is out there. Of course, the opposing team knows that, but more importantly, their own team knows that. So they feel like they're never out of it. They're going to keep putting together quality at bats until it's done.
Down to third. Rendon up. Hardy is retired. Detweiler last worked against Chicago on Friday. He worked an inning and a third, gave up a run on 2 hits. He's come out to do usually works more than an inning in a ball game, but he's rested. Matt Williams wants to get him in here. Manny Machado. Manny hitting just 209 off the lefties. Going to figure that number is going to go up in the second half. And that's a strike.
Oh, Manny Machado staying red hot after picking up 5 hits in the first game. He picks up a hit in the 5-6 hole and a solo shot, pulling his hands in tight. And Nelson Cruz celebrating. He has been red hot here recently. 8 hits already in this series.
Machado, a 292 hitter off left-handers last year. So well below that right now at 209. Another ground ball. There have been a ton of those tonight hit off these Nationals pitchers. And there are two down here in the ninth inning. Delvin Young will come on as the pinch hitter for Caleb Joseph.
Well, Delvin, amazing numbers as a pinch hitter. 308, 3 home runs, 11 RBI on the season. But pinch hitting this season, 500, 7 for 14, 1 home run and 3 RBI. So he's looking to try to spark something with 2 outs.
Pitch will be taken up high. Things stay the way they are. Fister wins it. He'll be 8-2. 4-2 lifetime against the Orioles. Norris will take the loss, 7-6, and be 2-1. It'll be his first loss against the Nationals. There is no save at the moment in this game. 2-0 count, 2 down. Young down the line. McLouth will not have a play. Crowd for this one of 35,575. 35,575. Big house here on this Wednesday night. Seen a good ball game for the Oriole fans, at least to the moment. A disappointing one. 2-1 delivery to him. That's in the air to center field. He got a lot of it. Going back span. He's got room. And this game is over. So a 1-2-3 inning for Detweiler coming out of the bullpen. And the Nationals come back here after the rainout last night. Orioles won the opener Monday 8-2. The Nationals win this one 6-2 with another game to be played tomorrow as the Orioles and Nationals wrap up this short 2-game set here at Camden Yards. Wei and Chen will take the mound against Gio Gonzalez. Our coverage on Masson begins at 6:30 with O's Extra, presented by Geico, followed by game coverage at 7. This has been a Masson presentation. Tom and Rick standing by. O's Extra, presented by PNC, is coming up next. For Mike Bordick and all of our crew here at Camden Yards, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Adieu.